Hello guys, welcome to the 3D market commentary for today being Friday, July the 23rd. Hopefully you've had a great trading week up till now, and today is a nice close to the week for you. Now before we start, I just need to cover the disclaimers which should appear, she says. There you go, there they are. So of course important to read the disclaimers for legal reasons, so take a second to read them. If you don't get them quick enough, then you can of course always come back and have a look a little bit later and pause the video if you do need more time to read them. So my name's Becky, my name is there, my email address is there, becky@tradictive.com. There's also support@tradictive.com. You can email either one of those two if you have any questions. Now there's also, if you have any questions, let's just bring it up. There's also this link here, which is tradewithufos.com/Becky. That will bring you to this link, and from here you can set yourself up with a free Trade with UFOs membership. And once you have that, you can scroll down and you can ask a question here. Now the good thing about that is asking a question here means it's in a public area. I can then answer it here. Everybody sees the answers, everybody sees the questions. So it really helps for the rest of the community to be able to come down and see the answers to the questions and learn from that. So if you feel comfortable, please do post your questions there. tradewithufos.com/Becky. You can also from this link as well book one-on-one coaching as well if you'd like. Okay, so let's have a look at our 3D market commentary for today. So let's get our news flash up. This is an email that we send every day out to the people that have that free Trade with UFOs membership. And it has information on 5 of the major markets in the world. We call it a 3D approach because we look at 3 separate elements. Makes sense, right? So the first thing is we look at market climate, upcoming market direction. Where do we have probability? Up, down, or nowhere? Now we use an app to help us with this. We always use technology here at Tradictive to help us. And we use this app, which is called AutoClimate. We use this app because it helps us answer that question really easily. Should we buy, sell, or do nothing? Is price going up, down, or nowhere? If it's a thick blue dot, ignore the lines, just look at the dots. If it's a thick blue dot on the AutoClimate app, that tells us probability is upwards, so we should probably look to buy. If it's a thick red dot, like one of those, that tells us probability downwards. We should probably look to sell. If it's a thin dot of either colour, so say one of these or one of these, that tells us not enough probability either way, therefore we should do nothing. Either change time frame, change market, but don't be trading on that time frame on that market because we don't have enough probabilities either way. So that's first things first. First element we look at is probabilities, up or down or nowhere. Then we want to know if we're going to buy, where do we buy? If we're going to sell, where do we sell? And that's where our buy and sell UFOs come in. Now, buy and sell UFOs are these guys here. We have green ones and we have red ones. UFO stands for unfilled order. Essentially what this means is we're using an app that shows us exactly where we have buyers and exactly where we have sellers. So it will tell us on the right hand side between which prices we have buyers. And why is that helpful? Because if we want to buy, the only way price goes up, and if we're buying, we want price to go up, is if there's more buyers than sellers. So if we're buying, we want to buy where there's lots of buyers, because it's much more likely to push price upwards. If we're selling, then we want to sell where there's lots of sellers, because it's more likely to push price downwards. The only way price can go down is if there's more sellers than buyers. So we use UFOs to help us specifically identify where are the buyers and sellers, and therefore where specifically are we going to place our orders, our buy and sell orders. So we use UFOs for that. AutoClimate is a free app, UFOs is a paid for app. You can check out on the website how much it is and how that all works. The last thing we look at is market volatility. Essentially, how quickly do we expect these markets to move? So we'll look at each of these 3 elements for each of the 5 major world markets, and we will go through from there. So first market first, let's have a look at the S&P 500. The ES is the futures contract for that. Essentially, by the way, if you don't know what those sort of acronyms mean, we are looking at a representation of US stocks. That's what we're looking at right now. So for US stocks at the moment, we have an unconfirmed climate. We have a thin dot. So that tells us that we do not have enough probability either way. We need to change time frame or change market. By the way, we're using a daily chart for each of our time frames here. Of course, different things happen on different time frames, but we are using a daily. So On this time frame on this market, not enough probability either way to call it. So if you wanted to place a trade, you'd need to change time frame or market or both in order to define something. Now we do have UFOs, buy UFOs here. That's at 41.23 to 40.55.5. That's where we have our closest stack of buy orders, which is a little way away from where price is now. So at the moment, we don't have climate really giving us an idea as to where price might go, nor do we have close buy orders telling us where price might go. So on this time frame on this market, not enough going on either way for us to call it. With volatility, we would expect that in a year, price would move up or down of 17.05%, which means in a day, up or down of 47.01 points, in a week, up or down of 103.5 points, and in a month, 215.44 points. So that is the S&P. That's what we would expect it to do. That's the US stock market. And in terms of today, we actually wouldn't really expect it to do much, or we don't really know which way it's going to go because the technology is not really giving us a really clear answer here. Now, we've got 4 other markets to look at, so I'm sure we'll have clear things to look at in different markets. So moving on to the next one, which is crude oil. In the meantime, it says there about the courses that we do. You can check them out. We do futures, stocks, forex, backtesting, trading plans, and psychology. So check out those if you think that that's helpful for you. A lot of them come with 3-month complimentary access to the apps themselves, to the AutoUFOs and AutoClimate. You can subscribe directly to the apps if you'd like by checking out that link as well. Go to the website. If you can't find those links, it should be easy to find. Okay, so with oil, we have an unconfirmed climate, same situation. We don't have enough probability either way because we have a thin dot here. Doesn't matter the colour, what's important is that it's unconfirmed, it's a thin dot. Now we do have buy orders that have come in here, 67.61 to 65.01. So we have buy orders there. If price continues to move up today, I wouldn't be surprised if on Monday we have a confirmed upwards climate, but we'll see. For the time being, similar to the US stock market, not enough probabilities either way on this time frame. So change time frame or change market to find a trading opportunity. Now with volatility on oil, we would expect movement up or down in a year of 36.44%, which in a day is 1.65 points up or down. In a week, that is 3.63 points up or down. And in a month, 7.56 points up or down. So that is crude oil. Let's move on now to the next market, which is gold. In the meantime, there it says about coaching and support. We, of course, do a lot for free on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook and stuff like that. So, of course, you can continue to follow us there. We also have a closed coaching community that you can check out if you'd like as well. Okay, so with gold, we have, in this case, we do have a confirmed climate, a confirmed downwards climate. Thick red dot here. That tells us probabilities to the downside, which means if we're going to trade, we'd be more likely to be looking for a sell opportunity, of course. Now, usually, this market would go down for 6.26 candles. I'm going to round that up to 7. So normally it goes down for 7 candles, and we're on candle number 2, which tells us we have room for it to continue to move down based on what usually happens. So another tick in the box there. Now, in terms of buy and sell orders, we have sell orders just here, really close to us, that are working right now to push price down. The prices for that are 1835.0 to 1804.4. And then we have buy orders quite a way down here at 1652.8 to 1624.4. So overall, what we have here is probability down with the climate, sell orders really close by pushing price down, and room for it to continue to move down based on the fact that we've got a way to go before we hit buy orders, and this market usually goes down for more candles than we've already gone down for. So overall, lots of probability there to the downside. Now, I know I'm sort of making out that this is a really great sell opportunity. It may be. What we need to bear in mind is that just because we have a lot of probability does not make it definite. So we still have to manage our risk. We might still have other variables that we need to look at and line up to see whether or not this would be a truly good opportunity. But as far as the probabilities go at the moment, we do have stronger probability here to the downside with gold. Now, in terms of volatility with gold, we'd expect in a year movement up or down of 14.51%, which is in a day up or down of 16.42 points. In a week is 36.14 points up or down, and in a month 75.23 points up or down. So that's gold. Let's move on to the next market, which is the US dollar. The US dollar is responsible for about 80% of transactions worldwide daily. So be aware of it. Even if you don't trade it, be aware of it. It will probably affect the markets that you trade. So with the dollar, we have a confirmed upwards climate. So a thick blue dot here, probability upwards. Now, usually this market would go up for 5 candles, just round that up. And we're on candle number 8, which means we have gone past what's usual in terms of a typical move to the upside with the dollar. Now, something to bear in mind as well is that our buy and sell UFOs are close together. So we have sell orders here that have pushed price down a little bit already. Those are between 93.47 to 93.005. But we also have buy orders just here, and they've worked to push price upwards a little bit. 92.42 to 92.075. So we have a climate coming in underneath us with buy orders, and we have a UFO of buy orders, that's buying pressure. But we have sell orders coming in from the UFO just above us, and we have an overextended climate, which means it's more likely to change direction. So overall, we've kind of got 2 ticks in each box. So for me, it's not overwhelming enough for me to have wanted to take a trade based on this. Again, I would change time frame or change market myself. If you had to call it, overall probability at the moment is to the upside, but to me it's too close to really call it. Now with volatility, we would expect that in 1 year the price of the dollar would go up or down of 5.05%. So in a day, that's 0.3 points up or down. In a week, 0.65 points up or down. And in a month, 1.36 points up or down. So that's the US dollar. Let's move on to the last market, which is backed Bitcoin. In the meantime, as I load that, it says here about questions. You can schedule or self-schedule a clarification call if you have questions about the apps and the courses and the memberships and what's going to be best for you, if anything. You can talk with one of our experts and figure out what might be best for you. Now, with Bitcoin, we have an unconfirmed climate. So similar to a couple of our other markets today, sort of indecision at the moment. Thin dot here, not really defined one way or the other, and not really surprising to see that, as Bitcoin's kind of just, it's kind of done that in the last few weeks. So not surprising to see the climate has essentially gone, I don't really know what I'm doing. So again, if we have an unconfirmed climate, we change time frame, we change market. There's no need to trade something if it doesn't have probabilities. In terms of UFOs, we have sell orders here at 39,295 to 37,460. And we have buy orders here, 27,782.5 to 22,910. And we're kind of in the middle. So not close enough to either stack of buy or sell orders really today in order to push it up or down, and the climate doesn't know what it's doing either. So again, overall, really hard to call on this one. I would change time frame or change market. In terms of volatility, we'd expect in a year Bitcoin to move up or down of 83.1%, which means in a day up or down of 1,688.36, in a week up or down of 3,716.74, and in a month up or down of 7,737.02. So that's Bitcoin. Okay, so that's all of our markets that we would be looking at. We've gone through and we've understood that actually 3 of our markets so far for today's data doesn't have enough probabilities either way. We had one other market that does have probabilities, but they're really close together. What we did have is that oil has more confirmed probabilities to the downside. So if you trade oil, perhaps that's helpful to you. I'll be back on Monday to explain it more with a new set of data for Monday. Before I go, I just want to highlight here the economic calendar. It's on fxstreet.com/economic calendar. We filter by high impact news and by various markets. You can go to that link and you can filter by different things. Essentially what we want to know here is in which markets are we likely to see a bit of volatility based on news reports that are scheduled to come out. So for example, today, a little bit later on today, oh no, that came out earlier on today, I'm sorry, so there you go. The Euro news and the Pound news would have come out already so far today, and we have Canadian news coming out a little bit later on. This is all in Eastern time. So we have Canadian news coming out a little bit later on that could affect Canadian markets or the Canadian dollar. But so far, all of these have actually already come out on the Euro and the Pound, which means we wouldn't expect them necessarily to continue to be adding volatility to the markets. Okay, so any questions, you can email me, becky@tradictive.com. You've also got support@tradictive.com. And there's also, like I say, this link here, tradewithufos.com/Becky. You can get yourself a free Trade with UFOs membership there at the top. And then once you have that, you can come down and ask a question here in a public space, so I can then answer it in the public space and help everybody in the community. You can also book one-on-one coaching from here as well, if that's what you'd like to do. Okay, so I'll be back on Monday, guys. I'm actually going to be doing a session over the weekend as well, a sharpening session. So happy for you guys to join me tomorrow, again on all of these different channels, for a sharpening session tomorrow afternoon my time. If you have any questions in the meantime, of course, let me know. Otherwise, if you don't join me tomorrow on sharpening, I'll be back on Monday for another market commentary. Hope you guys have a great end to your trading week, a great weekend, and I will see you soon. Take care.